just going to do a little warm up. So we're just going to start by sitting up now nice and tall. Remember mountain pose, and you can do mountain pose while you're sitting down, although you can't push your feet into the floor, but you can ground your bottom into the floor. I actually watched a video of somebody adjusting the bottom so that the cheeks actually, and the bones actually sat on the floor rather than the cheeks being squashed on the floor. You don't have to do that, just, it was fun. So remember, engage the tummy muscles, get your core nice and strong, shoulders back and down. I want you to think about squeezing your bottom muscles and use your bottom muscles to help you sit upright. And we're just going to turn the head over to the right. I'm going to inhale, bring it back to the centre. Exhale, over to the left. Inhale back. We're just warming up the neck. Come on over to the other side. Just go to where your neck feels comfortable. Bring it back to the centre. Now I'd like you to look on a diagonal. So kind of look along your knee, along your right knee. And then I'd like you to tip the head away from you. So you get this stretch coming through the side of the neck. Just breathe nice and gently as you're doing this. Then tip the head back, bring it back to centre and swap to the other side. Tipping the head towards the left. Get that stretch all the way down the side of the neck. And just breathing. Don't change your breath. Don't do big deep breaths or big inhales. Just use your breath, how your breath works. And then tip your head back, bring it back to the centre. So we're just going to take the arms up to the sky. So inhale your arms up, bring your palms together. Exhale, bring them down. So don't forget we all breathe at different rates. So if my arm speed is slower, just do what works for you. Exhale as you turn the hands and bring them down. You can even slow your arms down to work with your breath. Inhale up. It's difficult for me though because I'm talking and then breathing afterwards, so I kind of gap my breath. And bring your hands to the floor. You're going to inhale your right arm up. Exhale over. Inhale up. And exhale over. Inhale, lift the left arm. And exhale over. Inhale up. And exhale over. There's always a way to improve the position as well. So just simply on that particular position, you inhale your right arm up, and then you can look up towards the elbow or the hand, and this, make sure that the other shoulder is down, so you can always take the hand away. And that could maybe increase the stretch as well. Inhale, lift the arm up, exhale over. Same again on the other side, so inhaling up. You can look up to the elbow or the hand. You can increase the range of movement of the hand. You can also take the other hand out, bring the elbow down to the floor. Inhale back up and exhale down. So just roll your shoulders, nice big rolls. Make sure you breathe as you do it. So you might find an inhale on one circle, an exhale on the other. And then bring it back the other way. Hopefully there's not too much clunking going on. Bring it back to the centre. So we're going to take the right hand onto the left knee, other hand behind your back. Inhale up nice and tall before you go around, and as you exhale, take your head round, follow your head round towards your shoulder. And if you're using your tummy muscles, you'll find that you've kind of engaged and your core's nice and tight, so you find this twist means that your breath is a little bit more difficult. So really think about sort of using your belly breath to increase the stretch, and then bring yourself back to the centre. Swap hands, and before you go round, make sure you inhale nice and tall, and exhale, come round. You can use the hand against the knee to help rotate you round. Make sure you're breathing. I know I do say some random things, but people do stop breathing when they do things like this because the restriction through your abdomen can restrict your diaphragm. And sometimes it's easier to stop the breath than actually to breathe through. So inhale, bring your hands back to the centre. Again, if your knees are feeling uncomfortable, you can always put your legs out in front of you. So inhale nice and tall, and we're going to exhale, take the hands out into a nice long stretch. Again, remember, we're just warming up. So if you're feeling any tension in your knees or your lower back, just do what you need to do. Breathe nice and gently. And then inhale, bring yourself back to the centre. This time, take your hands behind your back. You can have your fingers pointing out to the side or facing backwards, it's up to you, but facing towards the screen, sorry. You're going to inhale, lift your chest up towards the sky, lift your head and the gaze to go with it, and make sure you breathe. This is a nice little back bend to follow the little forward bend we just did. And then bring yourself back to the centre. And just bring the legs out in front of you. Just give the legs a nice little wobble. We're going to go for a little stretch through your bottom. So bring both knees up and take your left leg underneath. So as if you're doing one-legged cross, and then you're going to take this leg, if you can, take it all the way over the top. If you can't, and you can only take it to there, then that's fine. We're looking for a stretch through the bottom. You might find that you can take the leg out longer if you can't take the leg round the inside, the outside side. And then we're just hugging the knee towards the chest, and hopefully you should feel some kind of stretch coming into your bottom. Maybe squeeze the knee in a little bit more if you're not. You may not have tightness in your glutes in this particular stretch. If you're a prolific walker, you know. You know who you are. And then we're going to release the legs. So just exhale, release that leg, bring the other leg up. We're going to swap to the other side. So bring that leg round. And then if you can, bring the leg over the top. Just give the knee a nice little hug. There's a slight rotation in the shoulders coming into this one. And again, hopefully you should be feeling something coming into your glutes. I don't know what to call them, because sometimes it could be, some people have got different words that they don't like when you talk about bottom. So your bottom cheeks. Your gluteals, give them a good stretch. And then we're going to release that knee. And bring your other leg round. So just give the legs a nice little shake. And we're going to start off with our first pose. So we're going to come up to standing, and we're going to do Warrior One as our first pose, and we're going to bring the weights into our posture. So if your weights are anywhere nearby, get hold of your weights, and you just obviously want them in your hands. So we're going to come to the short end of the mat, stand up nice and tall, and come into mountain pose. So inhale. As you exhale, step back with your left foot, turn the foot out about 45 degrees, and you want your hips to be facing forwards. Warrior Two is that position. We want Warrior One. So if you want to, with the arms, you're going to take the weights up. Now you can take the weights up to the shoulders. That's quite a good move, but your levers are quite long. And I've got my palms so that my palms are facing inwards, so that the weights are facing upwards. You could turn the weights so they're facing parallel to the floor, so they're in that position. It's highly up to you. This is all about the shoulder movement, really. You could move between the two. If you wanted to make it a little bit harder, again, you can take the weights up to the sky, palms facing forwards or palms facing towards each other. Make sure your front knee is over your ankle. Engage your tummy muscles. Just holding the weights in place can make it quite a strong position. And as you exhale, bring your arms back down. We're going to inhale, step forward. And then we're going to swap to the other side. So exhale, step back with your right leg. Come into warrior one, hips facing forwards. And we're going to do something different with the arms this time. So we're going to bring the arms up to the sky. And you're going to bring them out to the side. Bring them up. And bring them out. Exhaling down, inhaling up. Exhaling down. Hopefully you've got enough room. You're not hitting the people next to you. You might have to take a step slightly forward. And we're going to bring the arms down to our sides. As you exhale and inhale, bring yourself forward. So that's an example of using the weights within your warrior one position. We're going to come into warrior two now. So come back to the front of the mat. Roll your shoulders back and down. And we're going to exhale, step back with the left leg. So this time hips are facing forwards and standard position for warrior would be to bring the arms out. Make sure your wrists are nice and strong. Arms are nice and level. Just check out one wrist to the other. I just noticed that one of my wrists was really wonky, so just straighten that. Gets the old shoulder muscles working. Think about your shoulders behind your back, so try and engage them. Maybe bend the foot, the knee a little bit more in front. And you could turn your front palm up, come into reverse warrior. Bring your back hand down, push the hand down your knee, looking up towards your hand. And then inhale, bring the arms back into warrior two. Turn the palm down and release your hands. It's quite strong on the shoulders. If you've got enough room, you can always turn around the other way. And come into warrior two the other way. You have to do it on the other arm, other leg. And we'll try something different with our arms. So arms out. Turn the palms towards you. And then you're just going to bring the weights in towards the front and out to the side. Bring them back. Make sure you're inhaling and exhaling. If it's getting too strong for you, you can either light weights or just have a weight in one arm, or you don't need the weights at all. Just wanted to show you that you could use weights if you wanted to lower your arms down. And then we're going to turn the feet forward. So we've got a wide-legged stance now, feet facing outwards. Just going to wiggle my legs. So we're going to do a goddess pose. So with goddess pose, we're bending the knees down, coming down to try and get the hips as straight to the knees as we can. And then we're bending the arms up into cactus arms. And then we're going to push up into the 5-point star, so straightening up, straightening the arms, and exhale, come down. Just check your arms out, make sure your arms are nice and level. You tend to find that the arms tip forward a little bit in this position. Bring the elbows back, bring the elbows forward, and stand yourself back up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come up. Exhale down. And then release your hands down. Bring your legs up. And give your legs a nice little shake. Hope your arms are feeling nice and warm now. So we're just going to do chair pose as our next posture. So I'm just going to turn sideways to show you. So chair pose is quite good on the thighs. Lots of different things you could do with your arms. So stand up nice and tall. And as you exhale, bend your bottom towards the floor, bending your knees. You want your knees to, if you look down at your feet, you should be able to see your big toes. So your knees will be slightly forward. Engage the tummy muscles, and you can take your hands up behind you. Keep the shoulders out, nice and long with the arms. Bring them back to the floor. Take them up behind you. Squeeze the shoulder blades, and bring them back. Do that one more time. And bring it back. And when you're ready, inhale, stand up. We could do that again. And we can put some different arm movements in. So I'm just going to face towards the front. Standing up nice and tall, we're going to bend the knees. And you can bring the arms up towards the front. So my arms are coming parallel with the floor. They might look as if they're a bit higher because of the angle of the camera. But really I've got my arms in line with. So think about your shoulder blades. Don't have your arms really stretching forward. You want your shoulder blades to be helping out with the work that's going on, and you need your tummy muscles squeezed. You don't want to be feeling this in your lower back. Squeeze those tummy muscles and then inhale, stand up. And then we're just going to do some pulsing of that one. So we're going to inhale, exhale down. Inhale, exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale. One more for me. Exhale down. And inhale up. Lovely. I'm just going to take some water. Make sure you do two. That's we're 15 minutes in. Hope everybody's warming up nicely. Hope it's not too inappropriate with the temperature out there. Hopefully you've got doors open with a breeze. Okay, so just some little simple moves that you can do. So if you were going to do a side bend, for example, arms in, hands in the weights. You're going to inhale, take the arm up to the sky, and come over, reaching down the side of it. Now just be careful with your shoulder. If you've got any tenderness in your shoulder, just be careful with this one. Inhale up, and exhale the arm down. Inhale the other arm up, and exhale over. Inhale up, and exhale down. So bring your arms up into a 2-point stance, because we're not going to use the legs, so the hands up. And you could come into cactus arms and bring it out. So you can see all of these movements are very much similar to things you might do in the gym. I'm not sure you do Warrior One, but the arm movements, if you think about the arm movements, there's lots of arm movements that are very similar. And now what you can do, I'm just going to come onto my knees just to show you, you can stay up. Instead of pushing the hands this way, as you push up, you can turn the hand inwards and bring them back in. Really think about squeezing your shoulder blades as you push the arms up, bring them down. Squeeze the shoulder blades together behind you. Now what you want to watch out for is that when you bring the arms down, you don't pop the belly forward or the ribs forward. So you want to keep the body nice and engaged. Bring the hands down. Keep it nice and strong. Pushing on up. And bring it down. Lovely. And just give yourself a little rest. So I'll come back up to standing. If you want to, you can put the weights down, or you can keep the weights in your hand. We're going to do a forward bend, a wide-legged forward bend. So take the legs out nice and wide, and you want your feet to be facing forwards. Inhale nice and tall, engage the core, shoulders back and down, neck nice and engaged. We're going to exhale, take the head down towards the floor, hands down towards the floor. Not doing much with the weights at the minute, I've just got them resting on the floor. If you can't reach, then let go of the weights and just take your hands to your legs. Just allow yourself to stretch. Breathing nice and gentle. So now, if you want to use the weights, we're going to put a rotational move in. So take your right hand and put it in the centre of the mat. And if you've got the weight in your hand, have the weight facing along the same way as your feet. And I'm going to take the other weight up to the sky. So as you inhale, take the other weight up. Feel that stretch. It's coming through your shoulder, forearm. Just keep breathing. And as you exhale, lower the arm down to the floor. As you inhale, take the other arm up. breathing. If you can always look up towards the hand. And then bring the hand back down to the floor. And staying in this position, you now have both hands on the floor with the weights in it. You could lift the weights to the side, coming up parallel to the floor, and bring them down. Make sure your core is nice and engaged. If your hamstrings are too tight, remember you can bend the knees, bring the arms up to the side. And bring them down. I was just looking up. I don't know what I was looking up because I can't see you. Inhale, lift the arms, keep the neck nice and neutral. Get those arms shaking. Bring the hands down. And when you're ready, we're going to inhale and bring ourselves up to standing. So, turn your left foot forward. Keep your legs straight. We're going to inhale, take your arms out with the weights in your hands if you want. If you've already given up with weights, don't worry about it. It's not important. So I've noticed that this hand's higher. Bring the hands so that they're the same height. Engage the shoulders, bring them back. You're going to lean forward from your hips. So keep your hips where they are, lean forward, and then you're going to rotate the arms round. So one weight upwards, one weight downwards. Now if you rest the hand against the leg, that's an easier version. But if you want to strengthen the arms, then you don't rest the hand on the leg. But with the weight in the hand, you might find you want to. Inhale, bring the weights back and bend the leg. Right. Now we're going to swap to the other side. Turn the foot forward, bring the hands down actually. Turn the other foot round and straighten the leg. So inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, lean forward from your hip. Keep the legs in the same place. And then rotate the arms round. Ooh. Ooh. And then inhale, bring your arms back and release your arms and bring your leg forward. And then just bring yourself back to a standing position and give the legs a nice little shake. Ooh. So we're going to come down and lay on the floor now. We're going to lay onto our front. And you can have the weights if you want to. So, taking myself down onto the floor without my weights in my hands because I'm like down to my fingers. What I'd like you to think about doing is just have the weights in your hands. Just get yourself nice and comfortable. And then you're going to take the hands out into the T position if you've got room. If you haven't got room, you can always do cactus arms. Head down to the floor. And you need to really think about engaging your shoulders. We're not lifting the head off the floor, we're just going to lift the shoulders. So just lift the arms, squeeze the shoulder blades behind you, and lower them down. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, lower them down. And just do that on your inhale and exhale, just taking a gap breath between each one. So inhale the arms up. Exhale down. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, lower them down. Well done. So just bring the hands out in front of you now. Oh no, let's do cactus arms. Cactus arms is a better movement to do. But this time we're going to lift the head up. So as you inhale, lift the head, engage the shoulder blades. See whether you can lift the weights off the floor. Doesn't matter if you just lift them an inch or if you get them 4 inches. I'm realising I'm showing my age because I'm doing inches rather than metric. I don't know what 4 inches is in metric. 10 centimetres? Yes, 10 centimetres. Or just over 10 centimetres. And then lower down. Release your head. And now what I want you to do is take your hands down towards your side, so they're right by your bottom with the weights in them, but we're not going to lift the weights. So we're going to inhale, lift the head and the shoulders, squeeze the shoulders, keep the hands on the floor. Just allow your shoulders to come into position, squeezing the shoulder blades behind you. Just keep breathing. And then lower your head down. So just leave the weights where they are. You're just going to tuck your hand under your shoulder, come back into child's pose. So bring yourself into tabletop. Take your knees out nice and wide if you need them. Big toes together. And as you exhale, take your head down towards the floor. Relaxing nice and gently. Just breathing. Put your breath back. With the added weight, it makes it a little bit harder to do some of the movement. And then we're going to come into plank. So it's up to you whether you do a kneeling plank, and if you find it uncomfortable on your knees, put a cushion under your knees. If you want to come into full plank, we are going to try to use the weights as well. So I would recommend, well, I'm going to do it on my knees. So if you've got a weight that you can put your hands to the floor, then that's fine. If you haven't, you might not be able to do this one with weights. So I'm going to take both hands into plank position, and I'm going to bring my bottom down to the floor slightly. I'm going to slightly transfer my weight onto my right hand, pick the weight up with my left hand, and just bring it up, lower it down. Bring it up, and lower it down. Just do that a few more times. Working on those shoulders, range of movement on the shoulders. Really make sure you're pulling the shoulders together behind you. And do one more on that side. And then lower the weight, remove itself onto the hand. If your knees are uncomfortable, just give them a little wiggle, get them off the floor. And bring yourself back into plank. And then you're going to lift the arm, take it down. Lift the arm, take it down. And again. We're going to do 5 on this side, so that's number 4. And that's number 5. Lovely. So release the hands. Just give them a nice little shake. I'm just going to take some water, sorry. Okay, so next one we're going to try for is side plank. Different variations on side planks, so it depends on your ability. So if you are a kneeling person, we'll come on to kneeling first. So come onto your knees, and you want to make sure you've got your right arm underneath your shoulders, and then you're going to turn your right knee so that you angle the leg out to the side and turn sideways, and then you're coming up into a side plank. So that's a kneeling side plank, and if you want to bring the weight into it, you just put the weight in the top hand, take the arm up, bring it down. Or you can bend the arm up. Just do what kind of works for you. If you wanted to come into full plank, if you're staying in kneeling plank, keep going, and you don't have to use the weight if you don't want to. If you coming into full plank, so come into full plank, step your right foot forward to the side, and then turn the body round. So your legs are in line with each other, and you can bring the weight up. Just stay wherever you want with the arm moving up. Come down whenever you want. To come down from this position, bring the hand to the floor and bring the knees to the floor. And just give yourself a rest. That's quite a warm one. And then you want to do the other side. So I'm going to turn around to the other side. After having my water. So this time, if you're going onto full plank, step your left leg in and come up with your right arm with the weight in it if you want. If you're coming onto your knees, turn your left knee round and then bring the weight onto the side of the ball. And then if you want to, again, you can use the arm. If not, you can put the arm on the side and bring the arm up to the side. Make sure you're squeezing your bum cheeks together. And then bring yourself back down to the floor. Well done. So have you had enough of the weights yet? I've got ages left yet. So another good one to do the weights with would be a different variation of boat pose. So bring yourself onto your bottom. And bring your knees together, feet together. Or you can have them apart. So I've usually grabbed there, but we're going to use the weights. So if you've got the weights in your hand, again, this is up to you and your strength. So what you could do to start with is exhale backwards and just bring your hands off the floor slightly. It's all about your abilities and your strength through your shoulders in this one. So you could bring the arms up. And the more you bring them up, more likelihood you will get some shaking going on. I seem to have creaking floorboards. I've picked the creak in the floorboard. So there we go. I've got a bit of a wobble on. And then I'm going to inhale, bring myself back and lower my hands to the floor. So you could use the legs, bring the legs out and use the arms as well. So your choice, depends on how strong, how ambitious you're feeling today. Inhale up, exhale back. Lift the legs up. You might want to lift the arms with the weights or not. You can take the legs out straight, arms up, whatever works for you. You can take the arms out to the side, legs out to the side. Just testing you out, seeing how far you go. You can even turn the arms around the other way so that the different muscles in the arms are being worked. So this is really working my biceps and my deltoids. Those muscles in your shoulders. And then slowly lower them down. Well done. Whew. So let's lay ourselves down onto the floor. You can do bridge with weights as well. So there's different varying things you can do with the weights in your hands. So first of all, bring yourself down into bridge. Make sure you've not got your hairband under your back of your head because that can be uncomfortable. So just get your back nice and comfortable. Bring your feet up to your bottom. So we're going to put the hands down by the side. Make sure your shoulders are pushed into the floor. And as you inhale, lifting your hips off the floor, coming into bridge, and lifting the arms up to the sky. That's the simple movement. And as you exhale, bring the hands down nice and controlled, and lower the bottom. Inhale up the bottom, bring the arms up to the sky. Again, you can turn the palms to face each other, bring them down, exhale down. Inhale the bottom up, arms up, and a stronger move would be to take the arms down behind you without putting them down. Just depends on your shoulder strength, so just be careful. And then you've got to think about bringing them back up again. So inhale, lift the arms up, and exhale, bring the bottom and the arms down. And then again, inhale, lift the bottom up, lift the arms up, take them back towards the floor. Again, you can have the weights facing downwards or sideways. Different muscles are used. Bring them back and exhale down. Another one you could do is you could have the weights and put the weights onto your the lines of your hips holding onto them, because if you push up, you'll probably lose the weights, hitting the boobs or something. So just hold on to the weights nice and gently, lift your hips up and lower them down. Inhale, lift up, and exhale down. Inhale up, and exhale down. And this time you're going to stay up. So inhale, keep yourself up. Let the weights already stay there. You can adjust them on the angle side. That will make the hips work a little bit harder with the weights on them. Squeeze your bottom. Really push your hips up towards the sky. Try not to lose the weights if you let go. And then lower the hips down. And release the weights. So just bring your knees into your chest. It's always a good idea to do this move after you've done bridge. And then we're going to come up to a seated position. We're just going to do butterfly pose. So bring yourself on up. Bring your legs into butterfly pose. So you could use the weights in this position. So you could take the weights, depending on how they work, onto the knee or into the hip. You might not find there's much movement there. But you're trying to get the weight to balance on the knee without you holding it. Unless you've got a can of baked beans, of course, you might get to stand. Oh, there we go, I found it. Might work on this side. Just the wrong way. There you go, look. Elbows, that helps. Never thought that before. So again, the weight on the end of the knees is helping push the knees down to the floor, gets a little bit of a stretch through the thighs. I have noticed with using my elbows though that I am curving slightly, so try and lengthen through the spine. Just nice deep breaths through the nose. I know I just did it through the mouth. Because I'm talking, my mouth's always open. And then release the weights, release the legs. Just give yourself a nice little hug. So some of the more simpler moves, like a forward bend, not necessarily much. I mean, if you were just doing a simple forward bend, you could maybe take those weights down towards the legs. Or you can keep your back nice and straight, lift the arms, come forwards. You might even consider lifting the arms and rotating the shoulders around. Get back to the centre. Take it back a little way. Again, you might find one arm stronger than the other, so I noticed that it's my right arm that's left to you, it's almost coming behind my back. But when I come back round and go this way, I've not the strength in my left arm, which is right toward you. I can't get that arm all the way down. So it's just things to be mindful of. One arm could be stronger or weaker than the other. Can't really do anything with these weights on your legs, but lots of the movements we've done, like warrior, triangle pose, they are good movements. And they're quite strong on the legs, and using the weights can actually help increase the work through your body. What should we do next? Don't know, can't remember. Right, I'm going to stand up. Bring yourself up, make sure you inhale all the way out. So, could you do a sun salutation with weights in your hands? If you've got weights, yes. If you've got baked bean hands, no. or you could, but you'd have to think about putting them down as you were doing things. I'm wondering if I've got anything I could use. So come on, let's do sun salutations and see whether we can do them with the weights. So come into mountain pose, stand up nice and tall, palms facing forwards whilst holding on to the weights. We're going to inhale, take your arms up to the sky. Avoiding light bulbs, don't smash any light bulbs with your weights. Exhale, lower your hands down to the floor. Bring your head down and exhale as you come down. You're going to inhale, come up into a half lift, so lift the weights off the floor, hang the arms down, neck nice and neutral. Chest pushed forward, try and straighten out that back. And as you exhale, take your hands down. So this is where it becomes difficult if you've got the cans in your hands, because we need to go back into plank. So I'm turning my hands around to the side, and you could always rest on top of the weight can, or take your hands off the can to come back. If you've got weights, maybe bring your hands onto the weights and then see if you can lower down to the floor. Coming up into Cobra, you could keep the weights in your hands. If you're doing Sphinx, then the weights are just out in front of you. If you're doing Cobra, just be careful with your knuckles. Push yourself up into Cobra. It's a bit more complicated now. So we're going to lower our head down to the floor, tuck the toes. You might want to release the weights coming up into downward dog. You can't really use the weights in downward dog anyway. Just think about your downward dog. Think about pushing your bottom up to the sky, lengthening through the body, opening those arms. Pushing the heels down to the floor, engage the tummy muscles. And then we're going to spring forward. So on the inhale, spring your right leg forward, avoid the weight, the front of the mat. Bring your other leg to join that. Forward bend. Just take a few breaths. And when you're ready, inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. And bring your hands down towards your heart centre. And down to your side. So you can see it's possible to do things like this, but you've just got to be careful of where your fingers are so you don't bash your fingers. Let's just make sure we do one more on the other side. So inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive, arms down. Inhale, half lift. And then you could leave the weights on the floor if you wanted to. And exhale, bring your hands down. Inhale, step back into plank. With both legs, and then as you exhale, slowly lower down to the floor. Coming up into Cobra, you can put the weights back into your hands, bring yourself up. Make sure your shoulders are back and down, because the weights might make it a bit difficult. Exhale, lower your shoulders, tuck your toes, put your hands on the floor separately, and push back into downward dog. Head on your feet, and stretch those calves out a little bit more. And then bring your calves to stillness, and on the next inhale, bring your left leg forward, right leg to join it. Pick the weights up again, and then as you inhale, bring your hands up towards the sky. Exhale, bring your hands down. Bring your hands back to your heart centre. Well done. So, just a varying different set of movements that you can do to bring weights in it, make it a little bit stronger. So, we're just going to bring ourselves down to the floor, get rid of the weights, and we're going to come down into Shavasana. So, think about your position, think about where you want to be. If you've got a sofa close by, you can put your legs up the sofa. If you've got a nice flat piece of wall, you could always put your legs up the wall if there's no sofa. Or if you've got like a dining room chair or a stool, you can always put your legs up over the stool. And lay yourself down. Get your back nice and comfortable, shoulders on the floor. Breathing nice and gently. So I'm going to teach you a yoga breathing technique. Pranayama is the name of basically the breath or breath work in yoga. And what I'd like you to consider doing is just place one hand to the top of your chest so that your fingertips are almost on your collarbones. You're right on the top of your chest. And what I'd like you to do is what's called upper breathing. I want you to move your hand. So your hand stays on your chest, but I want you to breathe so that the hand on the chest, as you inhale, rises and falls. So I'm really getting you to concentrate on just moving the top of your ribs. And just keep breathing like that. Be aware of the breath. And be aware of what happens when you breathe right into the top of your ribs. Can you feel the muscles between your ribs expanding? Can you feel the tops of your ribs expanding? Can you feel a real big movement going on? Your collarbone is expanding up. Maybe your shoulders are moving a little bit. Keep breathing like that. A few more breaths. And then we'll change into what's called middle breath. So now I want you to put your hand underneath your chest, right on the ribs, the bottom of the sternum. So you're resting your hand there. And that this is using the ribs again. So as you inhale, really think about what happens to the hand that you've placed on your lower ribs, not on your belly. You still want to be in contact with the ribs. So as you inhale, you're aware of what's happening under your hand. Think about all of the ribs. Think about where your hand was displaced and see whether that part of your body is moving as well. Just keep on breathing. Again, don't make the breaths too deep. Just a normal breath length. Be aware of what's happening as you breathe. Try and bring your focus back onto the breath. Stop the mind from wandering. It's quite easy to do in this one. I certainly did it a lot when I practiced this one alone. And then what I'd like you to do is now move that hand down onto your belly. So you're not in contact with any ribs. And now I want you to breathe from your belly. So you want to inhale from your belly, feel the balloon of your belly expanding. And as you exhale, hand relaxes down towards the intestines, underneath the skin, under your hand. So just inhaling it up and exhaling down. Just do that for a couple more breaths for me. And then when you've done that second breath, just release your hand from your belly. And then allow your breathing to go back to normal. What I want you to be aware of is which breathing do you do? Are you upper breath, middle breath, or lower breath? It will be useful to know. So I just thought I'd read a little piece. I'm going to talk about your adrenal glands. So your adrenal glands are part of your endocrine system, and that is what creates your hormones. There are two triangle-shaped organs, and they sit on top of your kidneys, and they're about the size of a walnut. And they make hormones. What do they make hormones from? They make hormones from cholesterol. And they make hormones such as cortisol, aldosterone, adrenaline, noradrenaline, estrogen, and testosterone. It's not everything they make, but those are probably the ones that you may know more about. And your adrenal means ad is Latin for over, and renal is Latin for kidneys. So your adrenal gland is basically over kidneys. So aldosterone helps control your blood pressure by managing the balance of potassium and sodium in your body. Your adrenal glands are controlled by your pituitary gland, and this is another part of your endocrine system, located in your head. It's the main controller of your endocrine glands. And abnormal signals can disrupt the amount of hormones that your pituitary glands tells your adrenal glands to produce. And this can make them produce too much or too little. And there's lots of things that can impact the production of your hormones. Your adrenal glands modulate the function of every tissue, organ and gland in your body to maintain homeostasis. So this is the level that your body should be at, and it always tries to return to homeostasis. And that then hopefully keeps you alive. And the adrenal glands also have important effects on the way that you think and the way that you feel. They enable your body to deal with stress from every possible source, ranging from injury to disease, relationship problems and problems at work. So they also create cortisol, as I said earlier, and this is nature's built-in alarm system. It's your body's main stress hormone. It works with certain parts of your brain to control your mood, control your motivation, and control your fear. As I said, it's a hormone that's created from your adrenal glands, and it works with insulin to maintain healthy levels of circulating blood sugars and regulates the flow of glucose, which is the chief source of cellular energy. And it regulates the flow through the cells for energy production. So making sure that you can contract the muscle with the amount of glucose that's in the body when you're doing your yoga, for example. Your needs will differ from day to day. For instance, when your body is on high alert, cortisol can alter or shut down functions that get in the way. And these are functions like your digestion, your immune system, or even your growth processes. And although we're not growing height-wise anymore, we still grow. We have to grow ourselves. We have to create lots of things within our body. Cortisol works in conjunction with adrenaline and noradrenaline to help regulate your reaction to stress. It also helps regulate your metabolism, your blood pressure, and your sugar levels. It's best known for being called your body's fight or flight instinct. And when you're in a crisis, the cortisol plays an important role in a number of things your body does. It manages how you use your carbohydrates, fats and proteins. It helps keep inflammation down. It regulates your blood pressure, increases your blood glucose sugar levels, and controls your sleep and wake cycle. It also boosts your energy so you can handle stress, and it restores the balance afterwards. If you're under too much stress, sometimes after the pressure or danger has passed, your cortisol levels won't go back down. But if you're in a normal position, your cortisol levels should calm down, and therefore your heart, your blood pressure, and your other bodily systems will come back to work normally. By activating your parasympathetic nervous system, and that's probably what you're trying to do now with your breathing, you can reduce the stress that your body is under. So, fortunately for me, yoga is very good at reducing the stress that your parasympathetic nervous system is under, as is deep breathing and massage. Meditation is also very good for your parasympathetic nervous system. And also taking a break from your phone, getting out in nature, going for those nice long walks, doing something that makes you happy, such as a hobby. And even yawning can activate your parasympathetic nervous system, as does chewing, as it can start the digestion of, and your parasympathetic nervous system is opposite to what would be used when you are in fight or flight mode. So it's your rest and digest processes. So when you're in fight and flight, you do tend to turn off your digestion. When you're in the right mode and you come back down, your digestion should kick in and your body should start to relax. I just thought I'd give you some information about a very unknown part of the body, your adrenal glands, and how they work and what they do, what hormones they produce, and what some of those hormones can do for you. I only went through aldosterone and cortisol. I didn't go through the others. But maybe we can do that for another time. But your hormones all start in one form. They work off the creation of cholesterol. And then it turns into hormone A, hormone B, and then it's converted into hormone C. So they're all working off the back of one another when needed. So just take a few more breaths. And then I'd like you to think about bringing some life back into your body, but equally I'd like you to try and keep your mind nice and calm. So let's wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes. And if you've got anything covering your eyes, like a towel or a lavender bag, just gently remove the bag from your eyes. And we're going to bring our right knee towards our chest and our left knee towards our chest. Just rock gently from side to side, slowly and gently massaging your back into the floor. And then we're going to bring ourselves up to seated. So be careful in your environment if you've had your legs up the sofa or up a wall, it's harder to get yourself down and into a seated position. So bring yourself into a seated position. Sit up nice and tall. It doesn't have to be cross-legged. You can sit with the legs out and straight in front of you. Or your knees bent underneath. And the knees are up in this position. Only up to you. This position is a good meditation position. It's good for keeping your core nice and strong. And there are mentions in lots of yogi journals and books of people that can sit for 9 days or more, just meditating with a clear mind, clear body in this position. Making it even stronger, you bring your hands to your heart center, bring them into prayer. Rest your fingers against Anjali Mudra, your heart center. Just take some more breaths, not too deep, just your normal breath. And be aware whether your normal breath in this position is the same as when you were laying down. I give you praise. Thank you for your attendance. Om Shanti. Namaste. Lovely to have